Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Tinmore Podcast. And we are reading because that's the only thing that's happening in this book.
Yeah.
And I'm joined by Mecca
Yeah.
and Milku
Yeah.
and Mikoso. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we all hope you are all happy for joining us. That doesn't make sense. We are happy that you have joined us in this amazing book.
Yes. The second half of it.
Long. Yes. Yes.
So who wants to start reading?
Milko, didn't you want to actually read? I thought you
Okay.
did.
Okay, I will try my best.
You've got this, Milku.
I don't even
You can
know
do
where
it.
we left off.
Top
Page
of...
32.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
beginning of 32.
Yeah, with the shooting drama.
Wait, no, I'm pretty sure we already narrated the shooting drama.
No, we just made jokes about the fact that it's a shooting drama.
Okay.
It do be like that.
Okay.
Should we just
okay.
yeah.
What?
Should we just take each 10 of the pages? So you take from 33 to 43, and Mecca or I'll take from 43 to 53, and so on.
Oh, so we each
Yeah,
should
I
read
will
like
go
10
until
pages?
42. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, 42.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, the next morning there was a shooting drama. We already mentioned that an unknown man was shot dead in Labrador Road, and that was Barnaby. That was his name, if you guys remember. And so, let's see. So Tintin called the house surgeon. I didn't know that was a thing.
It was
It's
back
just a
then, I
surgeon for a
guess.
house, I guess. Just and then I think he's just calling about Barnaby.
Mm-hmm.
And then and Haddock's like, look, he's dead. There's no point. he just says to Tintin, it says in the paper that he's dead.
Yeah.
For I don't know. Yes. To prove that he is dead.
Mm-hmm. We can trust
And,
newspapers, right?
Yes.
Pardon?
Always trust the media. Kids.
Yeah, we can trust the media, right?
Yes. Don't trust the media. Okay, and then Haddock's like, oh, I wonder what that poor chap meant, pointing at those sparrows, whatever the heck. and then that's like a foreshadowing, or not really.
Some
I know what I'm talking about.
foreshadowing.
Anyway.
Man, don't you just
so-
hate it when a dying man is pointing at the sparrows and you don't know what to do?
Don't you hate when people
Yes, if a
foreshadow
dying man
stuff?
points at the sparrow, just assume that it has nothing to do with anything.
That's
Right.
random.
So the Thompsons are watching for the pickpocket, and then the pickpocket conveniently grabs Thompson's
Pickpockets.
wallet,
Mm-hmm.
and then he takes it, and the elastic band goes stretch, and then he lets go, and then the wallet hits Thompson in the face, and then it's basically just slapstick.
Yeah.
The Thompsons are so incompetent that they let the thief get away.
But they got his
and
coat.
they also bumped into a pole while they're at it.
Yeah, for
They
good
look
measure.
like children, like playing catch and run.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
In my version, when Thompson he like grabs the pickpocketer, he's just like, "I got you now, you." And then there's this like childish word like wax. It's like such a childish word. You wouldn't expect two policemen to say it.
Like the police are like, "You're a jerk. I hate
Yeah, but
you."
like way more childish. Like
You're a meanie
you're a
poo-poo
lollipop.
head.
Yeah, you're a poo poo head.
You're a poo poo, pee pee poo poo.
Also,
Beep, beep, boop.
I think we forgot to mention that Barnaby isn't actually dead. They just put that in the papers to put the bad guys on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Heck.
Yes,
Just
Barnaby is not dead. They put that in the paper. Really?
yeah.
I had no idea.
We're the media.
Oh my
Yes, I am the
gosh.
media. I was trying. I knew he was. I knew it. I knew he was dead. I actually didn't know he was dead. Okay. Anyways, moving on. So next morning, there's a lot of mornings in this comic. The phone is ringing. Snowy picks it up and brings it to Tintin. Wow, you're so smart.
Wow.
And
There's such a long like cord to the
I
phone.
know, right? Such a long cord.
Yeah.
Also, is that? Oh, never mind. I thought I thought Tintin had high heels next to his bed.
That's his.
They
That's his
okay. They
business,
really do
Goku.
look like high heels, right?
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, first time I saw this picture in a long time, I thought his lamp was like a candle with a plate on it.
It looks like it though. And it looks like he's got a
Yeah.
stick of butter in his nightstand also.
Yeah, it does look like that.
Mhm.
Okay. Anyways, so yeah, he answers the phone. He's like, "Okay, I'm coming," and then he comes. Like, obviously.
That's good.
He goes. He goes.
Bully.
Anyways, he comes there to the captain.
Try saying that again.
What?
He goes.
What's
Goku.
Mean.
Okay, he goes to the captain. And he's like, "Oh, we're gonna see the Thompson." He just comes across the captain like at some point, and he's like, "Okay." He brings him along to the Thompsons, and then they take Tintin's wallet, and then the
Yo,
captain
Mister.
sits on a chair with Thompson's hat on it.
That's one way to explain it.
Yeah.
The captain sits on a chair.
The captain sits on a chair. That was a very important piece of the story, I'll have you know.
Yeah. Obviously. We can't have the story without that.
I had to
Tintin
mention.
walks forward.
Okay, I don't know why they even added that in the book, but like, okay,
Yeah,
it's
for
a slapstick
comedy.
purpose.
Yeah, for comedy.
Visual
Okay, yeah.
effects.
And so they look at the parchment from the universe mask, and then Tintin's like, How did you manage to catch the thief? And they said, well, we catched his morning coat, and apparently the morning coat had Tintin's wallet in it. So yeah, that's how they got it.
Yay.
And then he's like, oh, it doesn't give us any clues about the owner's identity. And Tintin's like, nope, it does. Look at these stitches. They
Do
make
you
up a
good
number,
job.
idiots.
He's like, psych.
He's not that mean to them. But yeah, Tintin is basically always just proving them wrong. So, you know.
He's
That's
doing
how
their
it
jobs
goes.
for them.
Pardon?
He's like always doing their job for them. He's like, you guys can't do it, so I'll just do it for you. Here you go.
Yeah, that's basically their whole dynamic. It happens in like probably every comic.
Every single one.
Yeah. So yeah, anyways, Tintin points at the figures. I can't. It looks like, I don't know. It doesn't look like real numbers,
I
but
mean,
it
Kind of.
probably says
Kind of.
314731.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And so the Thompsons are like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll use that. And then, and then they use it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And some days later, so there's this package that's arriving at Tintin's door, and then they go up the door. They're actually criminals. Spoiler alert! But like,
Milk
we're
you.
gonna
It's
find that
just
out
an
in a
empty
couple
van.
minutes.
Mm.
What?
I like how it's just an empty van.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
they don't seem to have anything else in there. just
I mean, they're
just
there,
one package.
They're there to kidnap Tintin.
Yes, it's just one
so...
package in a unlabeled van for Mr. Tint. Not suspicious at all.
Absolutely nothing suspicious about it. No, sir.
Yep. And then Tintin's like, okay, so they're like, oh, this is for Tintin. And Tintin's like, oh, I didn't order anything. And then he's like, oh, but it's addressed to you. And then they chloroform him, obviously.
Again.
And then yes, and then they carry him. They put him into the crate.
Mhm.
They do that, right?
Yeah. He's
Get in the
crate.
box.
He's so tiny
Yes,
that he
get
fits
in the
in
box. He's Solid Snake now, except not a very good Solid Snake.
because he's passed out.
And then Miss Finch is like, "Oh, where's Mr. Tintin?" And it's like, "Oh, there's a mistake. We haven't. He didn't order anything."
He's
And-
not inside the box. He's at his apartment.
He's totally in his apartment. Don't worry. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can
he's
I
totally
say
still
something?
there.
Mhm.
Can I say something weird?
Yes.
Tintin went from being in a box which the box was in a box, and so he went from being in the box into another box that then was carried. Then the box was carried outside into another box because his apartment is in a house.
Oh.
So he was in an apartment, which was in yes.
Yeah.
His apartment was a box, technically.
We're all in boxes right now.
Hello,
Alright.
I live in a box.
In a box. I ain't happy. Okay. I'm trying to sing a gorilla song, but I'm really bad at it. Anyways, yes. There's a boxception alert. Anyways. So Captain Haddock happens to be there, just visiting Tintin, I guess.
Mhm.
I don't know, he's always there at the most convenient time.
Good for
And
Tintin,
so
I guess.
Snowy's barking, and then he's like, what's the matter, Snowy? What do you want? And Snowy's like, Snowy's barking so far out the window that he falls, and then but Haddock catches him because he's there in a very convenient spot to catch him.
Yes.
And he's like, wow, that dog's crazy. And Mr. Finch's like, oh, that's funny. He never leaves his master. And then so Haddock goes upstairs, and then Haddock says, oh my god, Tintin isn't in the room. And then, Mr. Finch is like, where could he be? I sure hope he isn't in a box somewhere.
In a box.
I hope he wasn't
Yes.
suspiciously kidnapped out of his apartment without me noticing.
Yeah, if he was kidnapped, I'm sure I would have noticed.
Right.
Unless he was in a box.
In a box.
Okay, so Snowy, he's on the run. He's going he's looking for Tintin. And then, so the next morning, there has been 3 next mornings throughout these pages.
Mhm.
Tintin wakes up in a bed. It's nice that they had the courtesy to put him in a bed at least.
Right. They didn't just dump him
Yeah.
on the floor. They're like, let's give him a nice little pillow for his dainty little head that he's already bonked a bunch of times somewhere.
Yeah.
And they gave him a giant room just to live in.
Yeah.
With nothing else. And
Surprise.
pillows.
Yeah, it's
this
just
is
a
your
bed and a
apartment now.
room. It's like, yeah, that's good enough. He doesn't need food. He doesn't need food to survive. He needs a bed to survive.
They'll just stick it through a little hole in the wall, and then that's it.
And they pass the food through there, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's like, where am I? It looks like I'm a prisoner. And another person says, yeah, you're a prisoner. And he's like, wait, what the hell?
Myth busted.
Oh yeah, and then he's
That's
like, oh
right.
my god, somebody spoke. Yeah, and then another guy's like, yeah, someone spoke. And he's like, who are you? And then he looks at the wall, and the wall was like, oh, I'm the ghost of the unicorn. Okay, but it's obviously not the wall. And the wall
What?
laughs, and then he's like, and then
The wall can't talk,
yes,
actually.
the wall laughs. So, and then the walls moves. The wall turns into a door, and he's like, "Oh, that frightened you, didn't it? Come to the door now." He's like,
I
"Come here."
demand you to come to the door. You must.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of coming here. Sorry.
Thank you. Stop.
Okay, that's the last time I'll say it. Okay, and now he's like, can you see the speaking tube? And Tintin's like, what do you want? Who are you? He just like right when he goes to the speaking tube, he just asks questions. Like no respect, man, no
Well,
manners.
he is a reporter, Milku, so that's his job. He has to ask questions about
Yeah, I
everything.
guess. I
Are
guess
you a
you're
prisoner
right.
inside the speaking tube?
Speaking tube.
Hello.
Okay, so yeah, like Tintin normally would do, he asks questions. And then he's like, the tube is like, you must, okay, who am I? I'm not telling. And why did I kidnap you? You could probably guess that. And he's like, I want to know where you have hidden the 2 parchments you stole from me. And Tintin's like, I stole 2 parchments, but I never had none. I had 0.
Tintin is a
And
good
the tube's
boy.
like,
He
come
doesn't
on.
steal.
I collected 2 of the. I collected 3 scrolls, and you took them from me. That night when I had your flat searched, only the 3rd was found. So where are the other 2? And Tintin's like, I don't know. And then this tube's like, fine, but I warn you, I know of several ways to loosen stubborn tongues. And he's like, I'll give you 2 hours to tell me where you hid your scrolls, and if you won't talk, well, something's gonna happen.
Worse.
He's like,
Want to be a speaking tube?
That
you'll
is
turn into a speaking tube just like I did.
the worst riddle ever. Tintin's like, bro, I have no idea what you're talking about. It's like some weird.
Yeah.
It's some weird
It's
puzzle
just this
or
guy in a
something.
tube just like speaking like mysteriously, and Tintin's like, what? What?
You have something I need? No, I don't. Yes, you do. Goodbye.
Yeah, that's basically the conversation.
I'm pretty sure you
Okay,
do. So, you're gonna stay
Yeah.
in here.
Give me your money. I don't have any money. Yes, you do.
Yeah, basically. Okay, so, but then Tintin's like, okay, I want to talk more, but then he's like, oh man, he's cut off. Whatever. Now I'm in a bind.
Whatever.
How do I get out of this one? And then it cuts to Snowy. His feet are really stank.
And
Yeah, I feel bad. His fur is cut off.
I
It
know.
looks like it's been shaved off.
Poor Snowy.
Just like thinking of Tin. Okay, so Snowy's on the trail, and he sees this car, and he splashes him. Snowy's like, grrr, and that's the end of that.
that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter neither.
It's important to know about
Yeah, it
this,
doesn't
Koso.
matter.
It's important.
Okay, so Tin's like, oh my god, 2 hours, how do I get out of here? And then he's like, oh, a plank, a battering ram, this beam. I can use this beam as a battering ram.
This beam. The beam.
Yes. Okay, and then he's like, oh, I can't lift it. Oh. Okay, and then he's like, okay, let's abandon the beam. No good. But in 2 hours, I must be miles away.
It's
and then he
like,
sees
it's like
this.
a quest. It's like,
Yeah.
I can't do this. I go.
It's like a.
Goodbye.
Yeah, he just abandons the beam. He's like, okay, I'll give up.
Okay, fair though. Like, I would do the exact same.
I know, right? I feel like
So how did he get his
anybody would do that.
How did he get his fingers under the beam?
The beam. I don't know. Maybe he just like had to like, squeeze them in. Because he has tiny fingers.
Listen, Kosa, we have time to see about Snowy, right? Because that's important. But how Tintin got his fingers under the beam, that's not important, okay? That's why we don't see it.
Okay, yes.
I need
not
answers
important.
about the beam.
Yes, it just matters that he can't pick up the beam. We need to articulate that information. But like it was the beam thing really didn't have to happen because it was
We've
like
talked
two
too
panels.
long about this goddamn beam.
Okay. So then he sees this this, I don't know. It looks like a circle.
It's a hook thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you call that?
I have no idea, honestly. Let me Google it real quick.
Okay, it looks like a circle. It looks like a chain link, like a single chain link on the ceiling. And Tin is like, Eureka! And then he's like, first I better block up this speaking tube with the handkerchief that I have, and then I won't, and then he won't hear anything.
Also,
So yeah, now get to work.
I googled it, Milku, and it's just a hook, I think. So.
No. But it's
Wait, what?
not really a hook, it's more like a circular hook.
It's
Yeah,
like,
it looks like a hoop, but like a tiny one.
yeah. Like something you'd hang a chandelier from or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you really Google it?
I did. I googled it. I'm like, I don't remember specifically what I googled. Hold on. I have short-term memory. It's like.
No,
yeah,
it's okay. You don't have to Google it. It is not important. We can't.
It
We
is
can't
to
keep
me.
dwelling on these. Okay. Anyways, he's like, first I'll tie these sheets and blankets together, and then tie them securely to this beam. How did he get his sheet under the beam? Who cares? And then pull.
Small hands.
Yes, he has tiny hands. He was able to squeeze his hands under the beam. Anyways,
Oh gee.
he pulls the blankets that's tied to the beam, but then he falls because the blankets went loose, and he's
That
like,
doesn't
"Dang it!"
matter either.
Yeah.
That just fell as well.
It would be
He
funny if he
falls.
just gave up after this.
Yeah.
After
He
one
just
try.
stops.
He's like, well, I did all I can do, so guess I'm here
I guess
forever.
that doesn't
Well,
work.
better find another method.
Better find another beam.
Find another beam.
What if I
If
dress
it
like
didn't
a
work with this
ghost?
beam, maybe it'll work with another beam.
He just puts the
Okay,
sheet over
so-
himself like a ghost. He's like, yeah, that'll work, right?
Wait, what?
He just puts the blanket over his head and pretends to be a ghost, and he's like, yeah,
Oh.
that'll get me out of here.
Yes.
He's just
if I
waiting for
become a
those people to
ghost-
come down.
He's done that before, though, where he pretended to be a ghost. He did that in
Yeah, he
Soviets,
really did.
and it worked, so why not here?
Well, yeah, because he's like, oh my god, if I become a ghost, I could be transparent, and then I'll be able to go through the wall.
That's how that works.
Probably have an
Just
idea.
walks into a wall.
I can turn into a wall if I become a ghost.
Right.
Wait, hold on. Couldn't the walls speak before? Didn't the walls like speak?
Oh,
Oh, you
you're
remember?
right.
It was from the speaker.
Yeah, but like there was a person behind the wall.
Mm-hmm.
I think the person just moved so that they can't. But they're just on the other side of the pipe now, so I don't think they can hear him.
They went to go have tea, so don't judge. Tea, yeah. they're
Yeah,
like-
don't judge a wall by its cover.
Right.
Okay, so he's like, so he starts again. He doesn't give up, surprisingly, and
He's
then he
Tintin.
pulls it. And then meanwhile, Snowy's still looking for him. He's all dirty. I think I see some green on his fur. And then he's like, okay, I see a river. I'm gonna get rid of this mud.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes sploosh. And he's like, okay, I'm clean again. And then another car drives by and makes him dirty.
It'd be like that.
It do be like that.
It really do be like that for Snowy.
Yeah.
And Snowy makes this face like bleh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the beam. So Tintin managed to pull the beam, and then so he's like, okay, the beam is under the ring, and now I shall tie a stone to the end of the string like this. I don't know where he found a string. And then he puts he throws the string. Okay, wait. It's a very detailed thing. Okay, so he throws the string through the hoop on the ceiling,
Yeah.
and the rock like weighs it down, which is why he tied it to a rock.
Yeah.
So now he's pulling the string through the hoop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
To get-
so now it's a floating beam.
It's haunted.
It's a magic beam.
It's haunted. Ooh.
He has made
Yeah,
witchcraft.
It's not just a beam, it leveled up to a floating beam.
He should just use that to defend himself against like the people that are going to torture him.
Yeah, like he's like, what are you gonna do?
Just
Come
like
in
floating
here?
beam
Mhm.
activate.
I have the power of God and floating beam on my side.
he taunts them. He's like, "What are you gonna do? Come in here and try and get me?" And they're like,
I
"Yeah,
have a
we
floating
are."
beam.
And then he hits him with the beam. And then they're
And he's like floating. Good job, floating beam. Okay, so
He's
Wait,
just
what are you
living
saying?
down there.
oh yeah.
What?
Wait, what are you saying?
He just lives down in the basement with this floating beam.
Yeah, he doesn't like use it. Okay, wait. What if he like didn't have to use it as like a battering ram? And he's like, okay, now I have a floating beam. Now I have a friend with me.
Floating beam acquired.
he draws a face on
He
it.
like just does nothing with it except hang out with the floating
No,
beam.
no. He draws a face on it or something.
Yeah.
Wilson.
Yeah, it's like he's going crazy. He's been there for so long that he's gone crazy
He's
that he
been there-
forgot what he was actually trying to do.
He's been there for not even a day and he's already going crazy.
I don't think it's very nice for him to hang his friend.
No, it's support.
No, it's not hanging, it's floating.
He's floating his friend.
There is no bed
Yes.
sheet there. It's just floating, Koso. Obviously.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Right.
Totally. Okay, so yeah, but Tintin is actually it's not his friend. He's just using it as a battering ram. And then so now that it's a floating beam, he can push through the wall and
Yeah.
it goes wham. And then the people people on the other part of the building are like, "Oh my god, did you hear that?" Yeah, a muffled
Also,
thud shook the whole
do-
house.
Their
So
face,
now we know he's in a house.
Their face is
Well,
so
that's cool.
funny.
And then it happens again, and they're like, "There it is." And then, oh my god, it came from the cellar. And he's like, "Oh my god, it came from the cellars." And then he's like, "Oh my gosh, if it's from the cellar, it must be Tintin. I expect he's calling us to tell us where their scrolls are hidden."
Right, that's
And
what
he's
he's
like,
doing.
he goes through the pipe. I mean, he talks through the pipe that he muffled with his tissues. And he's like, "Tintin, hello." Oh, he's not answering. Cool. And then, yeah, so they have to, I think they go to the cellar after that.
Mhm.
Yeah, they do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tintin's still pushing the battering ram, his floaty friend.
Yeah.
And then it works.
Yay!
Imagine if there wasn't like like a hallway there that is just just dirt. Like,
Well, I
okay.
think he was expecting it to lead him outside. Because he's like, here's a wall. It's going to lead somewhere. And so he rams it down. And also he says, hooray, there she goes, once the wall crashes in. And I just think that's really funny. But, like, I think he was just expecting to be outside after he smashed open the wall. And he's, like, confused when it's not outside, so I don't know.
I just think he's confused of how much shit there is in that like room. I just Buddha statues and
Mm-hmm.
You know what's weird? Like, after the wall bursts open, like, the hole starts singing. Like, where
I
did those
think
musical notes come from?
Milku,
it's
he's not
because
over
the
a
wall
music
can
box.
speak, you know.
Oh, yeah! Oh, my God. What if the wall
It's
is
so
in
happy.
pain? Why would it sing?
Milku, he
The wall
knocked over a
sings in
music
pain
box.
as Tintin
No,
blows
no,
a hole
make
through
it.
the wall.
Shh.
Uh,
It's speaking. The wall is singing.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Oh, I know why the wall is singing. It's because there's a thingy there that's
Ye-
Oh
playing
my god.
music.
yeah,
Man, are you serious?
A thingy. I'm like, okay.
it's a music
What do you
box.
call that? What is that?
Music box. Milku, it's a music box.
Oh, yeah.
Jukebox.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, Tintin's like, oh, it's a musical box. And then his whole face is red for some reason when they're like, there he is. It's probably because he's so tired.
He's embarrassed, Milku.
I'm
What?
thinking that the wall was singing.
He's embarrassed, Milku.
Tintin's like embarrassed that he broke their wall.
yeah.
He's like, oh, you didn't see anything.
Sorry.
He's like, oh dear, did I knock over your wall? I'm so sorry. I'm so embarrassed.
my friend floating beam told me to do it. It's not, I didn't do it. He did it.
Yeah. Yeah, my friend floating beam did it, but I didn't do anything, okay? The beam did it on its own. I don't know how, but that beam is conscious.
Man, I ship Tintin and Beam.
Tintin X beam.
That
What do they do
relationship
in the
is
cellar? Nobody knows. Yeah, that's very.
that relationship is
Beam
very
toxic.
suggestive.
though.
He only used Beam for his own selfish purposes. It's a toxic relationship.
The drama. What happens next? Find out on Tinmore. Okay. Anyways, so Tintin disappears. Okay, wait, sorry. So they're like, oh my god, he rammed a hole through the wall, but it was the floating beam, just so you know. And then he goes through the wall and he's like, dang it, he's bolted. And I think that's the last we see of floating beam.
Rip.
Rip.
Yeah.
Oh, say can you see?
Good job. I love that voice. You have a beautiful voice, Koso.
Thank you. The wall taught me.
The wall taught you how to see. Okay, so they're like, they go through the wall, and they're like, oh man, there's plenty of hiding places here, but we'll get them. And then they see a piece of armor, and they're like, oh my gosh, it moved. And so they start talking to the piece of armor, and they're like, oh, you thought you could hide in a suit of armor? Well, come on out. And then he's like, oh, you won't? Okay, well, I will fire. And then obviously it ricochets off the armor. It doesn't, it bounces off the armor because it's armor.
That was a great idea, honestly. 10 out of 10.
How do they want him to just exit the armor?
Yeah, they're just like,
Iron Man, like,
and then they're like, oh, you won't? Well, I'll shoot you. Because obviously that armor can't protect you.
Right. You think armor's going to protect you from a gun?
Ironically.
Oh. What a shocker. Okay, so yeah, and then the bullet bounces off the armor, and then it bounces into a gong, and the gong goes dong. The gong goes dong. Yeah, it makes a dong sound effect. So if it rhymes with gong, it's obviously the right sound, which is dong.
Mega, calm down. It's just a rhyme. It's you just rhyme gong with dong, okay?
Okay, I'm good.
Right, open it. Open.
Oh, this is going great.
Hey, yo, it's little Milky. The dog goes dong. It do be like that.
Yeah. So should one of us take over from here?
Yeah, can I do it?
Yeah.
Okay, so the gong just went bong. Yes, and then he's like stepping very quiet down the hallway, and then peep poop, wee woo, and that's like the clock with the bird, and yeah, the clock goes off, and then the evil guys, they just say, "You're stupid." That wasn't Tintin.
You're such an idiot.
It's just a clock.
It's like the clock decided it's time for me to screw with these guys, and then it went off.
Wait, we can actually see what time it is?
Can we?
It's 5. Yeah, it says it's 5 or 6. I think it's 5.
Yeah, I think it's 5. It's closer to the 5 than it would be the 6.
So it's probably about to be either either noon. Wait, no, either dinner time or
I think
breakfast time.
it's probably 6 o'clock in the morning because it says next morning, and it looks like it's saying 6 o'clock. So
Yeah. Hmm.
nice. We got a
I
time frame.
guess. No. Yeah. This is game theory. Okay. So Tintin, he's like, oh wow, the evil guys, they went away.
Wow.
And then Tintin being Tintin, he stumbles up, he trips on the painting string.
Yeah.
And he knocks, there's like this entire like chain of things that just fall down.
Yeah.
Just like 1 meter tall vase that just falls down, and he catches the like body, but the top it falls on a drum, and the drum says bomb. Cake.
Not gonna.
And the
comment
evil
about
guys are
that.
like, this way. What?
I said I'm not gonna comment about that one.
And the evil guys are like, now we got you. And Tintin, he proceeds to like run over to this giant math thing. I don't know what it's called.
It's called an abacus.
With like these, abacus.
Yeah, abacus. Yes.
Abacus.
Yes.
It's like this wooden frame with strings and balls on it, and he like destroys this, which they can sue him for destroying their
Okay, but like
apathy.
to be fair, they kidnapped him, so you know.
I mean,
maybe it's just a little bit fair, because they also, you know, are going to be arrested. Like they're. They can't be like, oh, this guy broke our property. Tintin can be like, you kidnapped me and held me against my will. So.
Why are there so many armors in their basement?
To be fancy, Koso.
But.
To be fancy, Koso.
To be fancy, I see.
Yeah.
And the baddies, they trip on the ball of the math thing.
Yes.
And then he runs back the other side somehow. Out the same hole. Where's Beam? Why can't we see Beam?
Beam is gone, Koso.
No, not Beam. And he locks the. And then he runs back through the like giant metal gate which they have in their basement for some reason. And he locks it, which just seems like impersonating.
It's for the aesthetic, Koso. That's why it's like that, for the aesthetic.
Yeah. And then he walks up this staircase, and he sees another piece of armor. And he just like goes around some people's houses, and he sees another armor. And he calls to the captain and says, "Yes, hello, I am at what's it called in English? The castle.
Marlin Spike.
Marlin Spike.
Yeah, but you forgot, Koso. Koso, you forgot Tintin sees like a opened letter by the phone, and it's addressed to Misters M and G Bird. And that's also where he gets the address from. It's because it says Marlin Spike Hall on it.
Yeah. Marlin Spike, and I just need to write that down real quick because I'm going to forget that so many times.
Okay.
Marlin Spike like that?
Yes.
Okay. And then Tintin, he calls the captain. He's like, "Yes, hello, it is me, Tintin. Yes, hello, I am at the." And the captain, he's like, "What?" He doesn't really understand it.
Yeah.
And then this guy looks him from another room, and Tintin just assumes he asks what he's doing, and then he says, "What I'm doing? I'm Mr. Bird's new secretary. Did you not know that, my friend?" Oh, no,
Didn't you
I
know
did not.
that?
Yeah. And the wall is speaking again now, and I believe that's from the speaking tube.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the speaking tube is calling him. The speaking tube says, "Hello, Mr. Man. Our secretary is not very nice. Uh, Arrest him now." And Tintin, he like continues talking to the captain. He's like, "Yes, hello, I am at the Marlin Spike. Yes, hello, Marlin Spike, Marlin Spike." And Nesta is like, stop right there, criminal scum.
You
You
hooligan.
are under arrest." And the captain, he like thinks it's like, he thinks he says like, "Bully God."
Yeah, why can't he hear him?
Yeah.
He's been saying it for like 100 times.
I think probably because Nestor is also shouting, and maybe that's why you... I don't know.
Could be.
Nestor's like making too much noise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Nesta, he tries to stop Tintin and shouting, "Marlin Spike." Meanwhile, the captain is like, "What do you mean by that? I don't understand you. I'm deaf."
Apparently.
And yeah, and then basically Tintin, he knocks out Nesta, but also knocks out the phone. Never mind, he does knock out the phone. Yeah, wait, yeah, he does knock out the phone. And
Yeah.
then Nesta, he's like, "Help, help, help, help." And then Tintin slams in with the phone.
Mm.
Top
Yeah.
10 weapons.
Tintin just
And the-
clubs him with it. Dude's just trying to do his job. Honestly.
And the bad guys, they're like, how did they escape?
That's a good question, Koso. Anyways.
Anyways, Tintin, he's like acting like an old hag, like, "Now the bloody phone doesn't work. Ooh, that's just what I needed." And then the bad guys and Tintin decide to go out through the same door, and somehow Tintin hides behind the door, and the bad guys, they're like,
I think what it is that he like stops right in front of the door, and then they hit him with it, and it knocks him to the side, so they don't see him, and he's behind the door now.
doesn't they like notice it that they hit a person with a door?
Anyways.
That's like beam strategy.
Yeah.
Stop. And Tintin, he runs out, but he gets caught, so he's bang shoots at him with his banger. So Tintin, I think he no mind, he doesn't. He hides behind the staircase and takes like this spear from in one of the armors.
Yeah.
And puts it through the staircase bars so they trip over it.
Yeah.
Somehow they don't see it. It's just like this solid black line that just.
Well, because I think Tintin just shoves it through right as the first guy's coming, and he trips over it, and then everyone else trips over it because they don't see what the first guy tripped over, and then they all trip over each other also.
Yeah. So now Tintin, he's like, "Oh, the exit." I don't know how he sees realize that's the exit, but he gets out. And the bad guys, they're like, "Oh no, the door."
The door.
He ran out through the door. And they have a dog. So now they're like, "Bark, bark." And the dog chases him. When I read this page at first, for the first time, I was like, that looks an awfully a lot like the Marlin Spike. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's the Marlin Spike, and then I realized it is.
That's so weird. These two buildings are both called Marlin Spike, and they look exactly the same. What an odd thing.
I can't
wonder
believe
what this hall is called.
Yeah.
Probably. Never mind.
Yeah. And Tintin, he runs out in a so-called very big park, or more a forest.
It's like the grounds of the hall. It's like they own that land, but yeah, basically it's like a forest.
They own the forest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the bad guys, they have this dog called Brutus, and he searches and he finds him. He finds Tintin. and it's like this giant goose chase. But
Yeah.
luckily, really lucky, Brutus's like collar gets caught on a branch.
Mhm.
So you would think that he like breaks the neck,
I
but
know.
somehow the dog doesn't break his neck.
Gosh,
It's
that's
like
It really
Yeah.
does look like it broke his neck.
I
Yeah.
know. Oh, it's so terrible to look at. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, like the stars,
Mm.
like the stars next to it. It looks like it's actually breaking.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's like
And
digging
Tintin
into
runs
his
into a
neck.
tree.
Yeah, Tintin runs into a tree.
And then he breaks his neck too.
Yes.
Yeah. So now the dog is like that's Tintin. And he's like, can you shut up? No. So Tintin, he takes this branch and does the same trick with the first bad guy.
Yeah.
And then he takes his gun because he's for some reason the only one who has a gun. And he give me all your money. And so he for some reason the Nesta guy isn't following along. For some reason. So now Tintin, he's like, game's over. Ain't playing no games with me. And he like leads them in this way of walking them so he can see him. But then Brutus he breaks the branch and he runs after Tintin and but Tintin he has like sick reflexes so he ducks and the dog yeets himself right into his own owners and is like big confused and should have broken the rest of its bones. And so then he's like, take a dog. Okay. So they take that dog and that it takes two people to pull the dog.
I mean, it's a
But a
big
branch.
dog.
A branch can defeat it.
That's a big dog.
Yes.
Yeah. And Nesta he's back at the castle and he's like, they're coming back. But it's him that has taken them hostage. Oh no. Then Tintin he's like somewhat pushing the bad people away. The Bird brothers. Yeah, they're brothers. Spoiler alert. So Nesta
What?
he goes down and takes like this either baguette or bat. You decide whatever you want to call it. And he hits Tintin in the head. I hope it's a baguette because they would just be so good.
Tintin
That's a
just
very
gets,
long baguette.
Tintin just gets beamed in the head with a baguette.
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 Baguetted.
But geez, you almost wonder how it doesn't break over Tintin's head. That looks like it hit him hard.
Yeah.
Like,
Also, I like how Nesta he's like, he looks really creepy when he's just standing in the window like, I got baguette. Me hit.
yeah.
Bonk.
Here's Johnny. And he hits him with a baguette.
Yeah. So Nesta he hits Tintin at first, but he doesn't fall down from being hit with the baguette / bad. And so the first bad guy with the gun, he's like, I kill you. But then Nesta hits him as well.
Yeah.
So now the second blue bad guy. So the bird man.
Yes.
This is very confusing. We should have made a name for these.
They do have names. I swear they do.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me Google it real quick.
Wait, I think they say next. Oh, I'm glad I'm not going to take 30, 55.
I Googled it, and it's Max and Gustav.
Oh yeah, and Gustav is the blue guy.
Yes.
Yes. So Max is the guy with the black coat, and he has the gun. And now Gustav, he has the gun, and he's like, I got you now. And it doesn't really matter before this, so you don't have to do big brain math to find out. Okay. So now Tintin he's in the opposite position, and he's being pushed by the evil people, Gustav and Max. Gustav and Max.
Yes.
That's their names. And guess what? Snowy! Snowy with his sick camouflage. And he...
Yeah.
he bites Gustav's hand.
Mm-hmm.
So Tintin, he like, oh, that means I'll have to fight them. So he sucker punches both of them and takes the dog.
Yeah.
And guess who now appears? The captain. Woo!
Yay!
And the captain decides to hurt Tintin with a bottle of rosé. But he just yeets it in the head of the guy.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Because the guy had a gun and he was getting up to shoot Tintin, so Captain's like, yeet! And then he threw the bottle.
Yeet.
Yeet!
Also, the next picture here,
Actually a full
Snowy's drink.
full body. Hello? And
Oh, I think that's a bad connection.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, he throws like an entire bottle, which I think is personally a sign of character growth, because instead of drinking it, he threw it to save his friend. And that's what we call character development.
I'm going to say something I think is really, really funny. And so, when we record Tintin into bed, everyone will understand it because I think it's really fun.
Yeah.
Snowy decides to drink out of the broken glass, and I just want to say, tipsy, tipsy dog.
Yeah. Snowy's such a drunk, actually, like, honestly.
Yeah, to be honest.
yeah.
Like, earlier
Many times...
when, Haddock was telling Tintin the story, and Haddock was, like, drinking along with it, and Tintin put the alcohol in the floor, Snowy just immediately starts to drink it, because he is a drunk.
We need to count how many times. We need to make, like, a list for season 2, how many things we gotta count.
Yeah.
And a counter.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'll get on that.
Drink.
Times...
Okay.
It's times Tintin gets hit in the head, times Snowy drinks alcohol, and... Oh, I'm sure we had another one, but I'll find it when I...
Times the captain swears.
Yeah. Oh gosh, it's gonna be so much. Do we
It's
count...
going to be around 100.
Do we count each individual swear, or like...
Yes.
Okay.
And we have to write them down.
Yeah, just in the description of the video, here's all the curse words, the swear words that Haddock said, and at what page he says them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll make a video about it.
Yeah, we'll just make that an entire video.
Yeah.
Like a special episode where we just go through each time Tintin has hit his head, every time Snowy's had a drink, and every time Haddock has sworn. Oh, it's gonna be so long.
We will make separate videos for each of those counters.
Yeah. Each of them, well, like, we could do all of them in one, and then it'd be like a full episode of an hour and a half.
Yeah, I think, like, one of them is just, like, 10 minutes long already.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just exaggerating.
Well, Micah, do you want to continue now, or should I just take the rest of 54?
No, I'll take it from here.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Haddock is like, that guy was gonna shoot you, Tintin, I just saved your life. And then you hear, like, shouting around the corner, and it's Nestor. He's like, I'm telling you it's a mistake. I'm not the one who should be arrested. And Timpson and Thompson come around the corner. They've arrested Nestor, and they're like, oh, this guy, we've arrested him. And Nestor's like, no, this kid, like, broke into the house and then beat up my employers. What do you want me to do? And Tintin's like, he's like, no, yeah, he doesn't understand. He's just doing his job. Don't worry about him. And Haddock comes over and he's like, look, your masters are like criminals. Look at what you made me do. You made me break my bottle of good liquor. Do you have anything to say for yourself? And
just looking at him like, I don't care.
He's like, that's your problem, sir.
Yeah.
Also, the captain, in my version, he says it's a 3-star cognac. And I believe that is very inconsistent because he only drinks whiskey. Myth busted.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
That's
Timson, he's like, we have a warrant for your employer's arrest. They're criminals. And he reaches into his coat to get his wallet. Or, I don't know, he's just like, oh, it's incredible, no one's stolen it. I think that's why he's freaking out. Not that it was stolen, it's that it wasn't stolen. And that's why he's celebrating. He's like, oh, goodness gracious. And Tintin's like, hey, so, like, what happened with that subplot with the pickpocket? Did you, like, arrest him? And they're like, no, not yet. We had to come and save you. So, you know. But we do have his name. We know where he lives. We're just gonna arrest him when we're done with these clowns over here. And Haddock breaks in. He's like, listen to me. There's been a terrible mistake. This man, Nestor, he's so innocent, just like Tintin said. Please, take off the handcuffs. And then go get me another bottle of brandy, maybe, like, while you're over there.
It's so weird because he was just yelling at him.
I know.
He was just like, you're a thundering typhoon. And then the next second he's like, this man is an innocent man.
Yeah.
Don't arrest
Are we
him."
not going to notice that Thompson has like a chain connected to his wallet
Yeah.
so it doesn't get stolen?
Upgrade.
Passenger secure.
Upgrades, people, upgrades.
Yes. But yeah,
Yes.
they free Nestor, and Haddock's like, don't forget, you have to give me the 3-star stuff. And Tintin's like, hey, so how'd you get here, by the way? And Haddock's like, oh yeah, after your phone call, I got a call from someone at the hospital, or he called the hospital is what he did. And he talked to the guy who got shot, and he's like, he talked to this guy, and the guy said, oh yeah, it's the Bird Brothers, they're at Marlinspike. And then Haddock's like, oh, he has a big brain moment. He's like, Marlinspike Hall, that's what Tintin was trying to say. And he's like, yep, then we just rushed over here. I called Timpson and Thompson, who are terrible at their job, and we came over here with no one else. Anyway.
Woo! The best police officers to use
Right.
in a hostage scene.
They're a good distraction, if anything else.
Yeah, just don't worry. We'll send out our 2 pickpocket police officers.
Yeah.
That'll help.
Do Timpson and Thompson even have, like, a specific job at the police department, or are they just cops, detectives, whatever? Like,
Well, they work at Interpol, and I've always found that very weird that they work at Interpol, but they are doing pickpocket crimes.
Right.
Oh, anti-pickpocket police work.
yeah.
PPP.
Stop. Anyway, we're gonna move on.
Send them to line.
So you hear like something around the corner. It's like people being beaten up, and Tintin and Haddock are like, "What? What the heck?" And they run around. They're like, "Oh, maybe it was a bad idea to leave the Thompsons with those gangsters, you know." And it turns out it was, cause, But yeah, they get around the corner, and Timpson and Thompson have their hats pulled down over their heads, and it turns out the Bird Brothers have escaped. And Tintin's like, gosh, dang it, they're so dangerous, we have to catch them. They hear a car starting up, and they're about to, like, run off around the corner again. A different corner, not the same corner. And the Bird Brothers drive by in a car and nearly run Tintin and Snowy over, and Haddock starts screaming at them because of course he does. And Tintin's like, oh, it's too late and they're gone. And then they have to go and help Timpson and Thompson, you know, get their hats off their faces. And Haddock gets beamed. He gets, like, sucker punched under his chin when one of the Thompsons is, like, trying to remove the hat. It's all very comical. Ha ha.
I keep thinking every time I see this one, like, these 3 pictures, I keep thinking that it's like a dance they're doing. Like one of those Russian dances where, like...
Yeah. It does kind of look like
yeets his
one.
head.
Yeet.
Yeah. Yeet.
But yeah, Tintin goes to Gustav, because his other brother No, not his other brother. Gustav didn't escape, but Max did. And that's why Tintin was like, oh, he's so dangerous, he can't escape. But Tintin goes to Gustav, and he's like, you better start talking, dude. Gustav is like, I'm not telling you anything. And Tintin's like, well, maybe you don't know that the guy who you tried to kill yesterday is actually alive, and he told us your name. And Gustav is like, Barnaby wasn't dead? And Tintin is like, no, he wasn't. And so Gustav's like, okay, well, I guess now I have to tell you everything. He starts expositing. He says,
Is because he was like literally one panel like before he was like, I'm not telling anything, and then the next you see like this huge wall of text.
Oh, I know, it's crazy. But yeah, anyways, getting to the wall of text, Gustav is explaining. He says, we bought this house, Model Spike, 2 years ago, and we found this tiny model ship, and it was in really terrible condition. And Tintin's like, oh, was it one of the unicorn ships? And Gustav is like, yeah. When we went to restore the model, we came across this strange little message. And Max decided, hey, maybe it references a treasure. And they use their big brains, and like, it says 3 unicorns. So there must be 2 others, and we have to go find them. And they're like antique dealers, right? So they use all their contacts, they go to all the markets, they do everything they can to find them. And he says after a couple weeks, Barnaby, who was their spy, saw the ship at the market. But by that time, Tintin had bought it. And Tintin's like, yeah, I guess we know the rest then. It was Barnaby who you ordered to break into my house, mess up my books, which I'm still offended by. He doesn't say that, but I would. Anyways, he's like, you sent this guy to steal my unicorn, but it wasn't there, so then he came
books.
back. Don't touch my books! Gosh. Oh. Oh. You can't just touch You can't just touch a person's books without their permission. That's so rude.
I like how Tintin like still remembers his books.
Yeah.
It is like, yeah, one detail, you messed up my books. Anyways, continue.
Well, Tintin just says you ransacked my place again. I added the stuff about the books.
Yeah, must I remind you that?
Yeah. He's like, you know that you messed up my apartment. And Gustav says, well, I better tell you what happened after that. And he says, Barnaby came back from your house empty, and then he remembered the other guy who tried to buy the ship from you. And Tintin's like, oh, so you sent him to see Mr. Saccharin, chloroform him, and then steal the 3rd parchment. And Gustav is like, yep, you're right. And then after that, him and Max argued about the money that Barnaby should get for all this, because Barnaby wanted more, but Max didn't want to give him any more. He's like, no, that's it. That's all you're getting. And so Barnaby leaves, and he says, oh, I'm gonna, like, turn you in and betray you to Tintin or whatever. And so Max is like, oh, I bet he's going to betray us. So they jump into their car, trail him, and then when they see him trying to talk to Tintin, they shoot him and then drive away. And they're like, oh, I hope he didn't give us away, whatever. And Tintin's like, okay, well, I understand all that, but why'd you kidnap me? And Gustav says, well, we wanted the 2 parchment that you stole from us a few days after the shooting. That's why the time skip is important. And Tintin's like, oh, well, I couldn't have stolen them because I didn't know you existed, so, like, checkmate there, I guess. Also, Tintin's a good boy. He would never steal. And, Tintin's like, oh, I wonder if it was Saccharin. The Thompsons are still trying to get their hats off. And
like, he still remembers Saccharin.
yeah. I mean, him and Haddock had a bond, you know? They both love ships. You can't forget something like
yeah.
that.
Obviously, they would remember each other.
Yeah.
That's the ship guy.
It's also important.
Remember me?
Do you remember? You remember Saccharin? The ship guy?
Saccharin, aka Shipman.
But also, it's important to the fact that Tintin got kidnapped, so, you know.
Oh, yeah, true.
But yeah, they're like, Tintin and Thompson are still goofing around with their hats, and Haddock, like, pulls the hat off one of them, and he flies backward right into Nestor, and the bottle that he was bringing breaks. And Tintin's like, oh.
No.
He's like, oh, don't worry, Captain. As soon as we see Saccharin, I'm sure he'll give back the 2 scrolls. And Haddock's like, oh, we only have 1. And Tintin's like, 1, that's right. We don't even have that because the Bird Brothers have it. And Tintin turns to him, he's like, give me back the parchment, you jerk. He doesn't say that because Tintin's too nice. But, Gustav is like, well, Max has it in his pocket, and he left, so that's not happening. And Tintin turns to the Thompsons. He's so angry. He's like, ring at the police station right now. Give them the description of Max Bird and his license plate number, and then we'll go back to town.
How does he know that? That's like superhuman.
We've already established that Tintin has a great memory because he can remember everything he owns. So he can remember a license plate that nearly ran him over. So
Yeah. We need to also like write down how many like superpowers Tintin has.
yeah.
Because now he can take like a wooden bat to the head, and he can remember a license plate in less than 5 seconds.
Yeah. Tintin's main superpower is his ability to not die from everything.
I would have said his ability to just do something that's not really necessarily useful in the situation, but useful somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
His
But-
ability to make beams float.
Wow.
Stop.
That's my favorite Tintin ability.
I mean, am I wrong, though?
No, because he did make it float off the ground, so.
He made it float.
We're going to confuse so many people about a floating beam.
Yeah. Well, anyways. It's the next
We're
morning.
not going to tell you.
It's the next morning, and Tintin, he's still mad. He's like, we're gonna go see Saccharin right now. He rings the bell, and it turns out that Saccharin is gone. He won't be back for a fortnight. And so Tintin is like, oh gosh, that makes things more difficult. If only life was conveniently the way I wanted it to be. Wow. But anyways, Tintin decides he'll go see the Thompsons. He says, oh, maybe they have found Max. And so he goes to the Thompsons. He's like, hey, are you going out somewhere? And they're like, yeah, but like be quiet about it. Come with us. And Tintin's like, where are we going then? And he's like, you'll soon see. And a few minutes later, they knock on his door, and they're like, are you Mr. Silk? And the guy's like, yes. And Thompson is like, I arrest you in the name of the law. Silk is like, arrest me? Huh? And the Thompsons
This is actually the best moment, in my opinion, of in the Thompsons like history. This is probably the coolest moment where they just walk. You are arrested.
Yeah.
What? Yes.
Yeah. They don't get any cooler.
Yeah.
Alpha male Thompson.
Alpha male. Oh
He
man.
asserts his dominance.
You, as a policeman. What a way to assert.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. But yeah, they walk in, accuse this guy of being a thief, and the guy's like, I'm a retired civil servant. A thief, it's a mistake. Oh, he's like super offended. And then Tintin cheerfully, he's like, well, I'm sorry to interrupt, but can you tell me what this means? and it shows like the guy's desk where he's been cutting up not only newspaper clippings about the pickpocketing, but he has a wallet that has someone else's name on it, and there's like a thing of paste and scissors and all that stuff. And Mr. Silk, he's like, I'm not a thief. I'm a bit of a klepto, but like, you know, I just really like wallets. I'm not a thief. I'm a klepto who adores wallets. And I just find one.
Wouldn't that actually also be stealing? Like, just taking someone's wallet, which he probably can, like, find again to the owner, but just takes it. Isn't that stealing?
Yes, Coast, that is stealing.
Well, it's okay as long as you're a kleptomaniac. It's not stealing anymore.
But also kleptomaniac gets you arrested, so...
And a social servant.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, the guy's like, oh, I just put a label on it with the owner's name. And then I add it to my collection. He shows like an entire bookshelf with like letter labels, and it's full of wallets. Oh gosh. And the Silk is like, this is a unique collection, one of a kind. Only took me 3 months to get all this stuff. And then he says,
Just stole from everyone.
And then he says, you have to admit, it's a really remarkable achievement. And Tintin agrees. He's like, it's amazing, all these wallets in alphabetical order. Don't encourage him, Tintin. Oh, God.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm
Keep
so
going.
glad you found this. I'm so glad you stole this man's wallet.
Yeah, Tintin, he's like, I wonder if there's the chance that life just happened to work out perfectly for me. And it did, because Max's wallet is there, too. And Tintin's like, oh, there's 2 pieces of the parchment, gosh. And he's like, Red Rackham's treasure is going to be ours. And Tintin runs off. He tells the Thompsons, don't forget to look under the letter T. And they're like, under the letter T, huh? And they look, and it's like, oh, this one belongs to me, and this one's yours. And there's like, the entire T shelf, right, was Thompsons. All their wallets.
Just one dedicated shelf to them.
Right? Oh, man. But it's the next day, and Hedek he kind of looks upset, and I don't know why. But he's like, gosh, Red Rackham's treasure is going to be ours. But that's easy to say because we still don't know what these papers mean. And Tintin's like, huh. He's like holding them. He's like, it looks as if. And then he's cut off by the phone ringing. And it's the Thompsons calling to say that they arrested Max. Yay!
Yay.
And Tintin's like, oh, did you find that third parchment piece that was on him? And they're like, yeah, he had it. We're gonna bring it over to you, so don't worry. And they're like, but first we have like a thing to settle, so after that we'll be over. And they go, one of the Thompsons, he says, Thompson, hold my walking stick while I deal with this jerk. And then he pulls Max's hat over his face. And Max just has to sit there.
I want
like
a ringtone with that. Thompson, hold my walking stick.
Thompson, hold my walking stick.
Slams head down his head.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, that'll teach him.
That'll
They just
teach
walk
him.
away after doing one thing to him.
Justice has been served.
Yes,
I mean, they're really
Yes.
just mad about the fact that their hats got stuck over their face, and so they're returning the favor is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Tintin and Haddock, they have both the papers now, and they kind of don't make any sense. They're exactly the same except for the numbers at the bottom. And, Haddock, he's like, oh, you can go on hunting if you want, but I give up. I don't care about the treasure. Just screw this whole thing. And he's like, I'm not going to try and make sense of this anymore. He's pouring himself a drink, and Tintin slaps him on the back, and his drink goes everywhere. Because Tintin's like, I've got it, Captain. He slaps him on the back. And Tintin's like, the message is right. In that it says when we look at this in the light, and it's a whole thing. Tintin puts the pieces one on top of the other and holds it up to the light, and it reveals coordinates along the bottom. And ooh, and Haddock is like, oh, yeah, coordinates. And Tintin assumes, he says, this is obviously where the unicorn sank. They do a little jig, it's really funny. And Tintin's like, when do we leave on the treasure hunt? And Haddock's like, well, first of all, we gotta find the ship, and he suggests, getting a ship from Chester, who we met in the last comic. I almost said episode, but anyways, and Haddock's like, oh, we need a crew and diving suits and etc., etc. And he says it's going to probably take a month to get all this stuff together. And Tintin accidentally, like, hits Haddock's elbow with his elbow, and so Haddock spills his drink again, and
Oof.
and they set up for the next comic, where they're going to go find Red Rackham's treasure. Yay!
Oh my god, I find it so funny that Tintin's like, the Tintin breaks the fourth wall. He's like, find out next time on Red Rackham's treasure. And
Yeah.
Haddock's like, who are you talking to?
He's sitting there dripping because his drink was spilled again. He's just kind of like, what the heck? He's just confused.
Yeah, he's like, is there someone in front of you?
He's like, Tintin, what are you doing? Yeah, and that's where the comic ends. So what did you guys think about it?
Can we say that it's someone ends? Can we? I don't know if we can say if it actually ends, to be honest, because it's like someone continues to the next book.
Well, but the plot of the Parchments and the Bird Brothers, that's all wrapped up. So technically it did end. It's basically like in a TV show where it's like, oh, here's something, and then we'll go to the next episode, but it's a different story, basically. Yeah. So, yeah.
The end of the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. I find it kind of weird how Tintin could just take these two other people's parchments. Just, thank you.
Well, to be fair, they kind of did steal them. Or one of them was stolen anyways, but...
Yeah, but like, what was his... Ivan, he didn't steal it. He just owned it. He's not even dead.
Yeah, well, I don't think it really... Because it's just papers, and Tintin... Like, I assume... Well, like, I don't know if Saccharin would even want it back, because it's just a little piece of paper. So, I don't know. But yeah,
well, I think that they have the right to like have the paper because it's like Haddock's birthright or something.
Yeah, probably, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Personally,
since he only made those for Haddock to find out or something.
Yeah, it was for the Haddock family, but yeah.
Yeah, for the Haddock family.
Yeah.
And Haddock is a Haddock, so
Wow.
in conclusion,
Wow.
Haddock is a Haddock.
Biggest brainers.
Yeah, personally,
yeah.
I thought this comic was really fun. I don't know, like, it's... I don't know how to describe it, but it is a really fun comic to sit down and read. It's mysterious because you don't know, like, oh, who shot Barnaby and what do these papers mean? And it leads up to a treasure hunt, which is always fun. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a bit like the first part of the mission to the moon, where they just talk a lot. But I think
the talking is like near the end, so.
Yeah, they talk a lot more towards the end.
But yeah, this is more like talking and figuring out and walking around. But yeah, you have a point.
It's more of like a mystery story where it's like, here's the clues, and it's gonna lead up to the ending where we reveal our villain and their motives and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's what I really like about this, because like there's these like 3 unrelated plot points that like they introduce, but then near the end it like ties up into a nice little bow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they all seem to like correlate with each other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really like clever storytelling
Yeah.
for its time.
Yeah.
Because, like,
I don't.
it could
Oh,
be like the
you go.
pickpocketing thing. You're just like, oh, it's just like this thing for the Thompsons to do, whatever. But it's actually, like, important to the story that there's this pickpocket going around stealing wallets, because that's how Tintin ends up with the parchments in the end. For the most part,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I think that was really clever. I don't know if you said that, Malcolm, but it's like I think it was a really good way to um, connect all of them.
Yeah.
Like he didn't really seem to be that important in the beginning. He just seemed to be like a side character.
Yeah.
But all of that just led up to this one, and so with the and also with the Thompson, and that also like powered
Yeah.
it a bit because he's a very powerful, and it had to show that image as, oh, he just has these two wallets, but he has like an entire shelf.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, for once the Thompsons like are actually doing something really useful. I think this is the most useful they've been.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
the most
actually.
useful they ever are, so enjoy that while it lasts. But,
Not happening too often.
yeah. Another thing I like about this comic is that from this point onward, things change, like the status quo changes, because we're introduced to Marlinspike, which stays for the rest of the series, and,
Yes.
you know, and,
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
yeah, so it's
Yeah,
like,
it's a lot, and it's a really like interesting environment because Marlinspike Hall is so big
yeah,
and it's so
Yeah.
beautiful. Like it's unlike Tintin's apartment, like just an apartment.
yeah,
But like Marlinspike Hall is like it's like a huge environment. And you can do a lot of things with it, and like
Yeah.
plus a lot of characters live in Marlinspike Hall as well. They start living there somehow.
yeah,
Tintin starts living there, but you know, no
Yeah.
questions here.
no
Not
question.
judging.
I think in just talking a bit about like the later stories and the later stuff that happens, I think the Marlinspike is a bit of a mixed thing because it
Yeah,
seems just like I don't want to spoil anything, but it seems a bit like it gives the captain and Tintin for that sake it seems to give them a bit too much power with that much money compared to what they had in this comic. Like, they couldn't really afford to just buy it. Or, yeah.
but it does become like an important part of the series from now on. It
Yeah.
like, because Haddock really didn't have much that he was doing before this. It was just he sails on the sea, but then I don't want to say, but like Marlinspike comes in the picture, and that changes for him, and so it's like this whole thing. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
them having money after this point, it does make certain things a little bit easier for them. But I don't think it was like
Yeah.
that big of an issue beforehand. Because, like, first of all, they're going around the world before this, or more Tintin than Haddock, but they're like, you know, traveling around, and they're going to buy like scuba gear to go find this treasure.
Well, it's an
So-
investment.
Well, yeah, that's a good point.
Um,
Yeah. So I guess that's everything then, right?
yeah. I think so.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, overall, really good book.
Yes. Definitely
Really
a
good.
classic.
Yes, like I would give it like a 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Same. All right.
Yeah, I would say a 7 out of 10.5, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I guess that wraps everything up. Thanks for listening to the Tinmore Podcast. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Remember to tune in next Wednesday
Or Thursday,
or
whenever.
Friday.
Whenever.